Welcome, guys. OG Merpe here with you, ready to start streaming. This is take two. I just talked to myself for a minute or two, whatever the intro normally takes, and Jeremy was nice enough to let me know, hey, sound check, bud, and none of anything was coming through. So, saving us from yet another stream with no audio. Man, I really got to do my own sound checks and start this. Anyway, we are getting ready to play some D&D. I'm not going to hold you up too long. There are 3 players tonight. We are getting we are getting going here. Long story short, they're on an adventure, and we're catching them halfway through it. I'm going to let them recap it from there. So, without further ado. All right, man. Whew, Jeremy, thanks a lot for doing the sound check there, bud. Otherwise, I would have just had a no audio stream, and that would not have been good. Yeah, I appreciate that. So, what's do you have inspiration right now in this campaign? Do you know? Well, you do now, sir. Thank you kindly for assisting with the stream. Who's doing the recap? All right, let's hear it. What happened? And you can give us a. It's been a while, so you can broaden out that recap a little bit. It doesn't have to just be last session. You can widen it out. Buzz, and literally buzzed off. He literally buzzed off. Yeah, poor Vincent. Poor Vincent. Yeah, it was right in the middle of like a 6-week shit rolling spree, I think, for Jeremy. He mentioned and across all of his games. Oh, good for you. I'm about to say it's called a bull rush on your character sheet. Is the stew? Oh yeah. Yeah, you guys had a little conversation about the consequences of being a werebore, and what that meant, as one of the first conversations that Titus has had about it. But he, point of fact, did not remember the previous night at all. Has literally zero recollection of it. He just like woke up covered in blood, found you like in the middle of the mountains, found the road, found you guys, and then you guys were like, "Yeah, man, she was crazy last night," and he was just like, "Uh huh, okay, yeah," and yeah. Yeah, yeah. Anything else to add? By and large, no. Great. No, go. Yeah, there. I think he's. What do they call that? No, no. Wait, like a replacement, substitute. I think he's a. Yeah, I think he's a substitute for Stool. I think he's just like rebound horse. I think it was Stool, wasn't it? Got it. That's right. That's right. That's right. I knew there was an affiliation there for some reason in my dome, in my headspace. Super sick. Then I have a couple of just like generic questions for you guys, which is first and foremost, uh, you know, Mary at one point was carrying like a fancy amulet thing related to Caloral. Who has that now? I can't remember. Max has it, and well, to an extent, Titus is as well. But yeah, Max to Tim, like that. There was a handoff there. So Mary didn't keep anything. Got you, got you. Because like Mary had stuff like the goblin bangle too. It's like that I assumed Mary kept. Yeah, yeah, right. But Max did not give any of the coins over to, or Max does not have any of the coins from Tim. Correct. Okay, I just want to make sure I have all my lore straight. as we're like moving forward here. Um, then, God, I felt like there was one more thing I wanted to ask you guys before we got into it. How is Max carrying that amulet? Is it just like tucked away in a bag? Is he like wearing it? Like what's his deal with it? Cool, 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 cool. Sick. Then you guys have been traveling through, the mountainous terrain, the winding, stiff, steep cliffs, and narrow roads. You've been experiencing all kinds of strange creatures from trolls to these electric worms. You've had sightings of giant eagles, and encountered this pack of wolves. One of which was a not a wolf, was a shapeshifter. All of that meat is now in Titus's bag of holding, and you guys are set for food for the foreseeable future. It is about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Titus is fatigued. He is exhausted from staying up all night. Echo is doing okay, but is on the cusp herself. Max is waking up refreshed, having regained hit points and spell slots in the whole 9 yards. Um, let's do a little character intro from you guys, and then we'll roll into it. Let's go Discord order. So Titus, you're at the top. Introductions, characters. What? we'll uh, we'll get back to that in a minute. Jennifer, introduce your character. That sounds right. Shoot. Yeah, we'll get into all of that. Andreas, your character. Cool. Sounds great. And honestly, Jennifer, that's probably a great place to jump in, in character, because I'm just going to make you roll wisdom checks anyway. Like, that's you guys should be taking notes about the Lover's Gate. So that's probably a good place to start with your party, as you guys are like waking up, reconvening, opening lines of dialogue for you guys to discuss. What? Well, no. I mean, Max did. Max woke up. Yeah. No, Max took a nap. Well, then there you go. I mean, Titus has big ass bags under his eyes. They're all like puffy and red. He's just like doing that thing where, when he blinks, he doesn't do it at the same time. It's like one eye then the other. Like it's. Uh, then let's get a performance versus a perception, and we'll do a contested roll, and it'll be a fun way to start off our session here tonight. So a perception check out of Max and a per performance check out of Titus. Hey. Okay, so yeah, so with players, you want to beat him by five or more to completely fool him, but he's definitely like notices a little redness in the eyes, maybe some shadowing, under the eyes, but Titus like seems alert, like you've got faith that this dude was like doing a good watch and like being a good sentinel for your crew. Yeah. Yeah. Oof. Which you only know from being told about. You don't even remember it, Titus. You just have Echo's word. Uh, which leaves Titus and Pepper just like hanging out at the mouth of the cave in roughly the same spot where Titus just spent all night on watch. You know, you guys were headed east along a long disused mountain pass road to the to some ruins there that the wizard Charis instructed you to go check out, because this location was on a map that was on the guys who ambushed you guys on the road. The like the mimic wagon and the dude who looked like Echo's father and the like big goat man like incident. Like the map came from that encounter. You guys took it to Charis, and Charis was like, "That's weird. I got some shit to look into, but you guys follow that map." And right, exactly. Because his door frame shattered your axe like it was made out of glass, and he repaired it in about as much with about as much effort. And both of Titus's brain cells rubbed together, and he was like, "You can do stuff like that," you know, and he knew what he wanted from this wizard. Oh shit! Great, love it. So, well, Pepper can, Pepper's told to not let him out of his sight, but Pepper, yeah. So how does Pepper react to Titus gathering his belongings and hopping on Hidalgo? Uh, Pepper places herself in your path, Titus, while you're on Hidalgo's back, ready to proceed. What what's Titus and Hidalgo up to? Uh, it's a bull rush maneuver on Titus's part, using the warhorse though. No, you don't. I mean, it's Pathfinder, so you can literally type warhorse Pathfinder. Yeah, I am gonna. Oh, you know what? And while we're kind of on this stuff, Jeremy, my other campaign, they're on their like climactic battle. They're like up against their big boss of this act. It's like their make or break time. It'll probably take them anywhere between 2 and 4 weeks to like get through this fight because there's 7 players, so combat rolls pretty slow. Um, but when we get to that point and I'm like done being a DM for that campaign, I'm gonna take a little break of 2 to 4 weeks and like not and put this campaign on just a quick break. But I'm still gonna get on every Friday. No obligation. But like we played, I didn't feel like DMing last week, so we played like Game of Life instead. Because or there's like all kinds of board games on Tabletop Simulator. So we're just gonna take like a little break basically after that one gets when I get to the point where it doesn't make sense to take a break on one campaign where I'm still having to do another one. So I'm gonna wait until I'm done with that one, and then I'm gonna take a break from this one for just a couple of weeks. But I wanted to say something ahead of time. Okay, so but I was looking for. I got a horse. I think it's called a horse heavy, is what it is. Yeah. Um, then then that is a CMB of +7. So go ahead and roll your d20 and add 7 to it for the bull rush for your horse. And what is your CMD, Jennifer? Because I know that doesn't change. Or Pepper's CMD, rather. For bull rush. CMD for bull rush. 18? Okay. Here, and I can size up your tower if it gets stuck. Yeah, I got you. 30 20. That is enough to bull rush past Peppa. It does provoke attack of opportunity, so Peppa can absolutely take one if she likes. Okay, sounds good. Warhorse. I have that AC in front of me. She's attacking the horse. I will let you know when Jennifer gives me her to hit. Because you also have armor on your horse too. That's going to hit even through the armor. So go ahead and roll your damage. That's 4 damage. So that horse is now wounded. It's taken 4 hit points worth of damage. You'd make a note of that somewhere, wherever you're keeping track of your own hit points there, Titus. And you guys are going to be leaving a trail of blood behind you as Pepper strikes out and slashes the flanks of Hidalgo right underneath where the armor ends, and is standing there, blood on one claw, as Titus and Hidalgo ride off to the east. Meanwhile, what kind of herbs are you guys looking for out there? Great. And Max? Okay. Yeah, she literally hasn't said anything to him since he asked her. Uh, I'm about to say, what are you? If you're not looking for anything specific, you're going to roll that with disadvantage for sure. Great. Go ahead and roll a survival check with disadvantage, and Echo can just roll a flat survival check. Bummer. Animal companions are traditionally. I know he's not an official companion, but animal companions are traditionally 2 levels lower than you are. Uh, Max ends up picking like a random assortment of herbs and things, and at a glance, Echo knows that he doesn't pick up anything that's specifically medicinal, but he has gotten a couple of pretty rare like tea flowers for nothing but taste and clout. But he did manage to find something of value in his pile, and some fungus maybe that you can eat. Uh, Echo, on the other hand, is taking advantage of being in these higher elevations where presumably she's read a book at some point about things that grow here and what to look for, and she ends up collecting a pretty complete stash of like brewing supplies, which is going to give her advantage on her next heal check that she has to perform. Uh, what is Pepper doing now that she is standing alone? Yeah, cool. Then I mean, it easily is going to take you guys half an hour to go properly, forage, scavenge, find stuff. Which means that Titus has a half hour on the road. Is there anything in particular he'd want to do, or any pace he'd want to try to set uh, on the road here? Okay, sounds great. You have been in and around this area before you walked through this. This is where you encountered the wolves. So go ahead and roll me that survival check with advantage because you have been here before. You're looking for something simple. Looking for something simple. It's just a stream. While he is rolling that, a half hour later, Echo and Max reappear, presumably, perhaps without even a single word uttered between, well, I would say between the two of them, but Max has been doing plenty of talking. And and you guys find Pepper, sitting in an apparent dazed state, blood on one of her scythe-like appendages. What are you guys gonna do? Then I'm assuming she's going to have a reaction to finding Pepper in this state. Is my stream still up? It should be. Uh, got you. I do know that my stream quality will randomly drop to straight up zero at some point sometimes. So it very well could have been me. um, speaking of which, I dug out my Super Mario Odyssey cap and I put it on my Skyrim statue. Pretty happy about that. Cappy, that's right. That's his fucking name. Yeah, the name of Mario's hat is Cappy. Yep, his hat is actually technically a playable character because when you play two player, one player plays Mario. One player plays Mario, the other player plays Cappy when you play co op. So yeah, technically. But all that aside, uh, Max and Echo have emerged from the forest after Max has been trying to determine. He's still holding a bundle of like flowers and mushrooms and things, and is uncertain of the extent of the value. Max is like a learned guy. He knows that there's some value in this stuff, but like this isn't his forte. He doesn't like fucking. He's not a botanist. He doesn't study this shit. He just like remembers some of these flowers are useful for something. Uh, so he's standing there with all this stuff. Echo is, got all of her shit, tucked away medicinally, what have you. Finds Pepper stunned with blood on her scythe, and as the two of you emerge from the fence line. Pepper's your own companion, so she acts within your general guidelines. I know you can speak with her, um, but that's like a because she's your companion thing. Yeah, you don't have to have this conversation with yourself. Max sees Echo go over to Pepper and begin having an animated conversation. Glances around and does not see either Titus or Hidalgo. Yeah, absolutely. You've got a little time to pace around as they're having this conversation. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Any pace in particular you're wanting to set? Yeah. I do need a fortitude saving throw from you, please. That's a yeah. As you start up, you feel the night before weighing on you, and having not had a proper sleep or rest yourself, you're having to actively physically push yourself to get to follow this trail and to keep your own pace up. And you too, my friend, have just earned yourself the title of fatigued. So that stat block is in rules and things, and now applies to Echo as well. Um, Titus, it's not going to take you too long to clean up your horse here, to patch up Hidalgo. It was a flesh wound. Let me see here. I've got like 20 hit points for a warhorse, so the four that he took is about 20%. So it was a substantial hit, but nothing crazy. Like Hildalgo's still in traveling shape for sure. How would Titus proceed? Okay, so you've got a half hour head start by horse. They're following you on foot. Probably only took you 20 minutes or so to clean that wound. It's going to take them twice. It's going to take them twice that time to cover the same distance because they're on foot. Um, so then Echo and Tim get to a point in the road where it's obvious that the trail has like broken off. Oh, I'm sorry, Max. Cont- yeah, dude, I fucking love that. With just extra legs and like bends in the arms and stuff. Uh, the Yeah, except instead of the eyes here, the eyes are on stalks up here for the little looks like an alien. Yeah, I fucking love that. So then it'll take you guys a little while to catch up to Titus, but eventually you will be able to track him down on the road at or before the kind of midday lunch traveling break. and you guys finally reconvene about about three-quarters of the way to the cave that you had the werebore fight in. Uh, you know that's still ahead of you on the road here. But Titus is got Hidalgo hitched up. He's like chewing on some tufts of grass. Titus has got some wolf out of his bag of holding, and crunch, crunch, crunch. The sound of footsteps on the road up behind him, and he sees three familiar silhouettes growing larger as you guys reconvene on the road here. Sure, roll a perception check. 21, great. Go ahead. Yeah, you guys have half a day of travel, so you guys got plenty of time. Wow. um, that you can take a swing. He gets a reflex save, and I will remind you guys that you're supposed to be attacking the enemies and getting along with each other. Uh, Max, a reflex save. Yeah, but it may not apply if he's quick enough. Yeah, reflex 18 is great. 18 is solid. In her tired state, moving way too slow for you, bud. You're fresh. But the swing comes through. It just makes contact with air as Max dances out of the way. And there's just somebody's alert somewhere. By the way, Titus, you are very successful in your sneaking. So if at any point you want to interject and do something dumb, feel free. Um, yeah, I mean, narratively, we got to bring you guys together at some point, right? So, No, I mean this is at any. Doesn't matter when it happens on the road. If it happens this way, then Titus can interact with you guys, right? So no, I'm sorry. This is I must have missed explained that the werebore encounter being where Titus turned into a werebore and fought the party. Yeah, yeah. But you've got wolf bits. you you Yeah, you guys have to walk to get to the point that Titus is at, but Titus has a head start, so he's just waiting for you guys at the next anything that is along this road, which is yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure it's just a blip. I'm sure I'll be back. There you go. It's okay. You guys are literally having a conversation without him anyway. Uh, so get through your conversation. No, she's still on. She's still on her dialogue. She's still on her dialogue. There you go. Perfect. Then, as she stops, she realizes that she's standing in front of the cave that you fought Titus in the night before, and there's these like gurgling sounds coming from within and a faint cry for help. Yeah, I mean, she knows him pretty well at this point. Max. Yeah, and roll me percentile dice. Two d10. One is the first digit. One is the second digit. There's a very slim chance. You're super fine. Sails wide and over. So you're great. You're golden. But it does embed itself in the rock on the opposite side, and makes Titus's face contorted in agony that much more visible. Did we drop it? Did we lose him again? We'll just fill him in when he hops back. It's like sense motive. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, baby. Okay. So here's what the DM is ruling: is that on a roll of 17 on a sense motive, she can tell that the cries of pain are not authentic, but she can't. She doesn't know why. She doesn't know what's going on. She just knows that when he says help, he doesn't really mean it. At least that's the sense she gets. Ha! 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 Checking his corners. Well, hold on. Are you following him in, or are you staying out? It sounds like you weren't even coming in the cave, right? Yeah. Max is going in. That's what I'm saying. Oh, that's great. And wow. I'm gonna call that flailing. Pepper comes up and begins flailing at you, Titus. How do you respond? Oh man. Okay. Um, sad faces. So this scene is just unfolding before you. Pepper running after Titus. Titus, is Hidalgo out front of the cave, presumably? There you go. So, you're just like running in circles, fucking around while Echo is like digging through her shit, pulling out like herbs and getting like another fire started up. Max, how are you reacting to this scene unfolding before you, friend? And as he does, the tip of his tongue like tingles and then goes numb. Yep. But she's still running after Titus, yeah? Okay. Uh, t- as he as he steps around Max and does another lap. Yeah, she's always like that. Passes him, goes back and does another pass around the cave. Yeah. Anything in particular you're looking for? Yeah, I got you. Dirty 20. Yeah, I mean, it's your companion. I have no idea what her motivations are. When he rolls a dirty 20, he does. So Titus stops, turns around, and begins to slowly open his arms and step towards Pepper. Like you do to try to beckon a dog or a cat over or something. Got it. Making himself a little smaller. Yeah, yeah. Like the pushing, the hand push. Armor and weapons like scraping against the floor as he's fucking moving. but with claws. But with claws. Make them kiss. So I think the underlying question here becomes: is Titus willing to hang out for a while? As it becomes clear that like Echo's pulling stuff out and like brewing up like tea of some kind, and you guys are like kind of back in camp mode. Are you guys just gonna like hold up here for you know as long as you decide? Which I'm sure is something that the party is familiar with at this point. Uh, oh, I see. I thought you were talking about like grumbling because she's grouchy. No, she's like magic la lying over them. Got it. Which leaves Max, Pepper, and Titus with some time on their hands whilst this is brewing. You guys as a party will need to determine how long you're going to stay here in this cave as well. You guys stopped for your lunch and you continue. But your lunch was it's I mean it's nighttime. You guys Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where Max is only 6 hours off of his long rest, so he could still go for quite a while. But the rest of you guys are literally fatigued and fucked up, and you're moving a lot slower. So you've taken the better part of a travel day that started at 1 in the afternoon to get back to where you camped last night, basically. Yeah, you're exactly where you were 24 hours ago. Cool. Okay. Yeah, which it will be, absolutely. We'll say right about this time. She's been brewing it for, half hour, 45 minutes, and it's all, it smells pretty funky over here, and it's like, different containers are like foaming and stuff, but looks like it's all coming together. Yeah, there you go. Just as she's finishing up. Yeah, you guys have best kits. Yeah. Yeah, roll it. Uh, it, yeah, yeah, it's very obviously medicinal in nature, in the same way that, we smell something like Vicks and we're like, "Yep, that's got a use, that's got a design," right? You know what I mean? Tiger Balm, same deal. It's like you smell it and you're like, "Oh yeah, that's got a purpose. There's a reason why it smells like that." Uh, and you suspect, Titus, that if you drink out of this bowl that you are not performing a watch tonight. little pizzazz. It's a fantasy game. Uh, Great. Titus drinks it all. Very bitter. Floral. Taste. There's some like earthy fungus underneath all of it all. And all in all, uh, better than it tastes better than the resin from the troll pipe tasted, but definitely worse than most liquids you've consumed recently. That could be good. Max and Echo. Cool. You guys trying to do watches? What? It's not. It doesn't work instantly. No. Oh, I know. I know you will, bud. I know you will. We'll get to that. Oh, funny. To who? To which him? Let's get that up before you guys get into it. Let's get the first of those con rolls, con saves. Yeah, so far so good, man. Like you're powering through. Like teeth gritted together. It's like you're like holding your eye open with one hand, and you're just like, you're doing it. But Max is just sat, and so Titus is seeing this. Is why I wanted to get into this. Max has just sat down next to Echo. Fair question. That's pretty. Oh, funny. Okay. One hit point of damage. No, I'm just kidding. You're fine. Yeah. And Titus, with such a high roll, you're still conscious enough to see this whole process and to like understand that this same thing that happened to you last night is now happening to Max. Meanwhile, Titus is in the corner. No, no, no. The same blood reading. Like during your conversation with Echo, you did the same thing basically. I love Max's ego, man. This is great. Yeah, it's definitely believable that this like, you know, high class educated nobleman's son would be like that tracks that he'd be like, but but workmen are the ones who have scars. I'm not a workman. It's like that. It's very believable. If I must. Titus is still conscious, and at this point, he should be asleep, but he's not. Titus just doesn't wake up. Roll up a new character. Titus OD'd on cough syrup. Oh, funny. So my first question, my first question then, Titus, is, you see Echo reaching for this bottle of more of the stuff. Anything in particular you want to do as she begins moving towards you with it? Bring it up. Bring it up. Great. Then the next fortitude saving throw I need you to make with disadvantage. Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. Let's take a look here. Oh, but because you're at disadvantage, ooh, that's a 12. Uh, a 12 is enough for you to maintain consciousness for long enough for Titus to think that he's victorious. Like, he downs the rest of the bottle that's in there, and he's like in the process of talking shit, like, yeah, you got another bottle, and he's just like, he's done, he's out. So he gets a little more bragging under his belt before he's sleepy pants for the night. Leaving just the two of you to do watches tonight. Echo and Max. Okay. Then perception roll from Max for your watch, por favor. Except the ears will be painted on. On a 12, the night is relatively peaceful. You do hear a distant, screech of a giant eagle. And somewhere, between the mountains, you see the flash that is one of the, lightning bolts, just brightly lighting up the base of a distant, mountain. Nothing close enough for you to need to worry about tonight. But otherwise, your watch is going to pass without notice, my friend. Okay. Uh huh. Yeah, perception check. Por favor. Okay. And is that? No, it's fine. Yeah, dirty 20. On a dirty 20, you also see one of those flashes of light, and then Echo also takes note that there is a spider peacefully making its web in a tree just outside the cave entrance. But she hears the snoring of Titus in the cave, overwhelmingly, snoozing, and otherwise the night passes without a particularly great incident. Yeah. Uh, if she wants to make her way out of the cave and spend some time searching the skies after she hears well, I guess she didn't hear a cry. She can look for a giant eagle, and on what was your roll? It was like an 18 or something. Dirty 20. Uh, she doesn't see any indication of being followed, uh, but there is still, this a substantial amount of light in the sky because of the nearly full moon that hangs in it, and so she does see a couple of distant figures, not directly overhead like they were before, but there are definitely giant eagles close enough for, especially them with their eagle eyes, to see. Yeah, absolutely. You were told by Charas that there were giant eagles here. So yeah, they're supposed to be here. Cool, sounds great. Yeah, as far as Echo knows, this is like their territory, or near enough to it. Between the two of you guys, unless one of you is going to sacrifice a long rest, you are not going to be able to have enough watches to cover all night. Uh, Yeah, she's not going to pick up on nearly as much stuff as you guys are, but she could at least, she'll at least know if like somebody's coming up the road or if something crazy happens. Yeah, yeah, you still roll for her. On a 10, it's enough for her to be very confident that at least nobody was creeping up on you guys throughout the night. Nobody came up the road. There was no, movement in the forest nearby. But that's all that Pepper's really attuned to. Yeah. But you guys make it through the evening. Wake up in the morning refreshed. Your fatigued status is gone for both Titus and Echo. And the three of you guys are ready to face the new day. No closer than you were yesterday necessarily, but ready to continue on that last leg, those last day or two's worth of journey. Hell yeah! Brecky Breck and Break Camp. You guys are going to have plenty of breakfast time and camp breakdown time and travel time to talk. So we'll say that happens in that time frame. If you guys do in fact have anything to say to one another, but otherwise, a couple of notable things happen as you leave the cave and begin your journey. Especially because Echo is now looking for them. One of the giant eagles does appear to be keeping tabs on you guys. Seems to be flying within. I mean, it's got to be a half mile, maybe a full mile away, but maybe more. But you know, to his eyes, that's no problem to keep track of you guys. And these things are big enough that you can see them in the sky for sure. Uh, and the next thing that happens, I will narrate to you guys after I check in with you. Anything that Echo wants to say to her party, or the party wants to say to each other, or and I'm assuming you guys are going walking speed, because Titus, in theory, you could ride ahead on Hidalgo, but that's kind of your call. Just on a trot, yeah, yeah. Yep. I'm gonna say that specific of information would not have been available to Echo growing up outside of Ruinswick. Right, but she can only know what she can shapeshift into, right? I mean, Yeah, that's why I'm making that ruling, and I kind of warned you about that when we talked about your character's backstory that she's going to be coming into the world with some pretty limited knowledge. So, so in this instance, it's possible. I will say it's possible. She's that absolutely could sound reasonable to her. Yeah, 100%. Right. And all of that is not information that you guys would have, that your characters would have. Yep. Boyd. Then, as you guys continue traveling on your journey, the roads have gotten to the point to where they've begun descending instead of ascending, and you guys can feel yourself getting closer and closer to sea level. Although your visibility is still not great, as these mountains, hills, and forests are all in the way. Occasionally, you get to a point where you have a beautiful vista of, the hills on the forest, or a creek running miles below you, but the view to the east is still obscured by the range of mountains. But it is obvious to you that you are getting nearer and nearer what we would consider the foothills section, rather than the outright mountainous terrain. And about at the point of midday, you guys crest a final hill, and circle around one last bend, and you're able to see the terrain kind of open up in front of you, um, and you can see for miles ahead the rest of the peninsula ahead of you. In it is this, you know, this ringed city that has that's set up in like this circular fashion, and you're kind of looking down on it. Um, but it's there are all these like different points of light which are bobbing around in and around it, and the outer ring of it is pretty thoroughly obscured by what appears to be a dense, dark fog of some kind. But the place that you guys are heading to, that is obvious here in front of you. And the path between here and there looks fairly straightforward, with the exception of a huge ravine which runs across the peninsula, and you can see that what should be a peninsula is really more like an island. Like, there's not any solid ground connecting the two bodies over a chasm of a width of 100 feet or more, except for one bridge which spans the entire length of the crack, essentially. And you guys are going to get there probably about the time you are getting ready to set up camp for the end of the day today. But this all like comes into view. So you've got this eagle behind you who is staying close enough to keep an eye on you, but is easily a mile out. Ahead of you, over the next couple of miles, you're going to get to this big like cliff edge, basically, where there's the mountains you're on, and the rest of what was at one time the peninsula, which has now been divided by this huge crack of some kind, which has this bridge spanning across it. And on the other side of it, you can see the ruins themselves, in disarray. I mean, crumbling buildings, holes in the wall. You can make out what was obviously a gatehouse at one point, and you can tell that the city was set up in a circular fashion, but it's so distant that you can't make out much more than that, especially with the dense, dark fog that seems to be surrounding it. But this is the kind of like sight that you guys are taking in here. You can see the ocean around the peninsula at this point. Like you can see all the way down to the coasts and then the waters out in all different directions. And this is kind of like the high point with the best view of the terrain that you're descending into. Yeah. Cool, no big deal. You guys continue your journey, and about the time you guys are getting to the end of your travel day, you could maybe get another few hours in of daylight. You descend down these mountains and these hilly roads. Uh, at at one point, while you're descending, there's a flash of something way out on the horizon, skimming over the top of the water. But it's difficult to discern what exactly it is. You guys, I'd like each of you to roll me a perception check, please. Yeah, 100%. What do you want to? What do you want to use? Sick. Go for it. You still roll. You'd roll and you'd add 20 plus your perception modifier plus the number on your die, which is, pretty much always going to be over 30, which is about the highest roll. So I'm just going to kind of assume that you get the best information you get. Max, what is your final? 11. So you and Titus see a large dark figure, and you're pretty sure it has wings. Pretty sure. Uh, Let me see here. Echo is able to make out almost, every distinct feature of this creature, despite the fact that it's a significant distance off. It is a long, scaled figure with a tail uh, and huge bat-like wings. It's obviously like within the draconic family. It's a dragon thing of some kind, but it's too small to be a full-fledged dragon, and Echo knows that. Um, but there are drakes and things which live out here by the sea, and it's very plausible that this could be something like a sea drake. A drake is a dragon that has less arms. It only has legs. It doesn't have any arms, and it's smaller and less powerful. But they're basically mini dragons. They still have like breath weapons, and they still fly and shit, but they're not as crazy. I actually want you and Titus both to perform a wisdom save for me here. Will save. Great. Max Max remembers when he and Titus were still in Woodhurst. They were looking at job boards to try to find kind of what to do next, where to go. And it was before all of the, it was like while you were waiting for the guild representative, because you went down to the guild house and they were like, oh yeah, we'll send somebody out to talk to you, in 3 to 5 days. And you were like kind of waiting for the guild representative to show up, so you were looking for work and jobs and things. You remember that there was a post on the job board about a sea drake that was plaguing the area, and you noticed that the guard count in Woodhurst was up significantly from what it's usually at. Is Titus still what? No, you've slept. You're golden now, bro. Bring it on. Yarp. Um, that's a good question. Why don't you start by talking to your party? That's that's a nature. Yeah. Dungeoneering is, if you were trying to find out information about a slime which lives underground, I'd do a dungeoneering check. If you were trying to figure out how prevalent secret doors are in dwarvish architecture, that'd be an engineering check. If you wanted, or a dungeoneering check. If you were lost in a dungeon, I might let you roll a dungeoneering instead of a survival check to find your way out. Um, but basically, the big defining difference in my mind is underground creatures versus overground creatures. Yeah. Um, she would, not a ton has been written about sea drakes because most people who come into contact with them are on ships that get sunk by them, and so what information is out there is limited. However, she knows that they have a that they're strong, that they can destroy like full ass ships with their breath weapons and with their like tails and stuff. Uh, she knows that they move quicker than you'd think they would for something that size. Uh, she knows that they prefer to stay over the open water and attack targets in the open water if possible, though they're not above, taking out an easy meal wherever they find one. Let me see here, and that they don't share all of the magical immunities that their draconic cousins have, but that they do possess some magical immunities. So don't fight it. Gotcha. Yeah, correct. In the air above the open water. Okay. Sounds good to me. I think that we should also take our break, and we will come back to whatever talking and watch orders you guys want to go through as you continue this camping session, and then we'll just kind of keep on keeping on. It's 8:25. Let's call it a 10-minute break. 8:35. We'll be back. All right. alive! Alive is what we are. Okay, so you guys are in the process of setting up camp for the night. You have begun the long descent. I mean, a shorter descent than it was an ascent. Uh, but you guys have started, coming back down towards sea level. You've laid eyes on the ruined city for the first time. You've also spotted a number of flying creatures, which are potentially concerning and/or problematic. That is up for you guys to decide. You have seen this large gorge connected by a wooden bridge, which is, before you, and you guys have decided to camp on this side and worry about crossing that tomorrow. Uh, Anything in particular you guys want to do before you settle in for your watches and your perception checks? That's up to you guys. So the least exposed area is probably the wooded area, which runs along the side of the road occasionally. So that would be the easiest covered option for you. Cool, 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 cool. Then you guys just need to tell me what order you're doing your watches in, and roll those perception checks for me whenever you're ready. Great. Then Max is up first. Perception check, check. Ooh, a big 12. Uh, Max is distracted by sounds of the night. He hears the hooting of an owl. He hears the very distant crack of a twig of something moving somewhere. And he spends most of his night kind of really focused here on the immediate, on the short term, and nothing appears to creep up on him. He keeps his eyes and ears open for anything in particular. I guess I should ask. Yeah, yeah. And it is only a bit more comfortable, and it is an uneasy few hours, but they do pass, and you know Max is relieved to find his watch over. Total of 31. Is there anything in particular Echo is looking or listening for, or hearing or smelling, or tasting for? So, eyes ever scanning the sky, Echo is able to, she has never lost track of their eagle escort, who, even now is no longer in the sky, but she, looks in the direction that she knows it has perched, where it has, has landed for the evening, and checks to see if it's still there and can still make out its silhouette on the mountaintop, against the horizon. The sea drake has gone and doesn't make an appearance during the 3 hours that you are sitting on your watch. However, as are taking your watch and walking around the campsite, and on a whim you make your way down to the bridge where the crossing is, and you can see the area is pretty flat ahead, and farther down past the foothills is the ruined city, and a couple of things stand out. And the first is that those points of light that you could identify before, you're a little closer now, and it could be, it looks like it's torchlight. It just looks like standard torchlights, but you count them over the course of the evening, and they're hard to see because of that dark fog. Which, now that you're this close and you're looking at, it's really too dark to be a fog, and you suspect that it may be a smoke instead, which is confirmed by the rich orange glow. There's like a streak. There's like a ribbon of dull orange color emanating off the buildings in the ruins, and the occasional like flash of you're not sure what, because the smoke obscures it, but you can see a light lighting up behind the smoke occasionally, at odd intervals. You maybe see four of them over the 3 hours that you're watching, um, but nothing finds you. There's no movement, and the only being watched that Echo can sense is from the giant eagle. So the three of you are all up right now, unless Titus is not getting up because he sees Max get up. There's stuff going on. I'll take I'll take your because it will be your watch, Titus. So I'll just take your perception check now up front because I'm assuming these two are gonna crawl back into their bed rolls as soon as they get the first opportunity. Tim, you make your way out to the road, and by having Echo point this stuff out to you, you're able to also see the dense smoke, the ribbon of light, these flashes, and you effectively see everything that she has seen. Is there anything you'd like to do, roll, check, or think about? Yeah, yeah. Go ahead and roll me knowledge arcana. A total of 9. He, looking at this, is not even 100% convinced that it is a magical effect. He's looking at the kind of like tones and hues, and like you know maybe it's like a bonfire out there, or you know like uh those could be just regular torches, and I don't know what they're burning out there, but they could just be burning stuff. It doesn't have to be magic. Uh, but as far as like specifics go, if it is magic, maybe some fire magic. I don't know. Like that's where Tim's at with his knowledge. Max, god damn it. Yeah, I know. I know it. It's all right. I'll get it right one of these nights. Yep. Which is why I want Echo. I was about to say, what was your final on your perception check? A 9. Okay, man. You see the lights over there bobbing around. You count 2 dozen, maybe. You notice these flashes, but you're kind of drifting off. You were thinking about other stuff. Things was getting boring, and you glanced over to look at the sword-shaped rock you found. And then you'd catch a flash out of the corner of your eye, and there were definitely a few of them as well. Um, but I will reiterate that it is surrounded in like a black smoke, which does obscure quite a bit of vision. But the difference is Titus also has the joy of watching the sunrise, as on the last watch, and you guys are facing a brand new day as the sun peeks over the horizon and shines its light, across your side of the gorge and the opposite side of the gorge and the city that you're, heading towards, and illuminates this bridge here, which connects the two sides. Messing around. And it is now airborne, off in the direction you saw it last night. Still about a mile out. I gotta say, what are you guys doing? Cool. Sounds good. Probably a good idea. Cool. Sounds great. Yeah, and before long, all your spell slots are set. Your camp is packed up, and you're, ready to head down the road towards the gorge. And as you guys do so, you guys get to the edge of this ravine, which is probably 120, 130 feet across, and another couple 100 feet down, and you can see the ocean, waves crashing underneath you, far, far down. And in front of you is a solidly constructed wooden bridge showing some signs of weathering. And, uh, and on the other side is a loose break for the continuation of the road that you guys are traveling on. And you can tell that you're going to be out at quote unquote the city gates by the end of the day today. Yeah. How's he how's he doing that? He's just like putting some pressure on it. No, it's like a built bridge. No, yeah, this is a built bridge. Uh yeah. So he, steps and, puts some pressure on it, and the wood does, creak and groan underneath the heel of your boot, and you can feel the plank, wobble and warp slightly. Uh, but you go to, like, you move yourself back and forth, and it it does feel like looser than a bridge of this size should. Absolutely. 120 feet across. The width of the bridge is probably you probably fit two carriages side by side, so maybe 10 feet. Hmm. This is a little bit bigger than that. No, and as a matter of fact, as Max is, I got your name right that time. As Max is looking at this bridge, it looks like it's sun bleached, but it really does look like it's in remarkably good shape. How did you guys not start having? Every character starts having rope. I thought it's it's part of your like kit. You have like a rope and a water flask and a mess kit and a pot to cook in and yeah, torches and bullshit. 60. It's 60 feet of rope, but it takes 5 feet to tie it off. I think so. Usually, that you only actually end up with 50 feet of rope. I think is how the math works out. You'd have to daisy chain two ropes together to get enough rope out of it, and even that wouldn't get you all the way across. You'd have to use all three ropes, but yeah, there's a tree nearby, absolutely, and you'll still probably have 40 feet of rope to get across the bridge, so you'll get about a third of the way across the bridge. Uh, you can do a survival check to. You guys definitely didn't see a cave, but you can do a survival check to look for one. Absolutely. On a 12, it's just you're going to be gone for a little while. How long would Titus be willing to look for this cave? Like what? How long is he willing to wander around looking for one of these? Cool. Yep. So Titus walks off to go in search of a cave with Hidalgo, and Max is. I mean, no, not tying is a basic enough thing. This is a role play moment for you guys. There's no, you know, no, no. Yeah, we give you some allowances as the heroes. Like, we're not like, yeah, Echo hasn't had basically any experience with humans, but I'm not making her roll for fucking everything because she's been cooped up and has never actually met anybody in her whole life. Like, you guys are heroes. You learned how to tie some knots along the way. You figured out some basic shit. Right. Um, you know, but anyway, so if Echo is, overseeing this process, making sure that, these knots are tied to specifications, is maybe sharing her preferred knots with Max. I don't know. Yeah, I hear you. Cool. Get him all secured and tucked away and ready to start crossing. Oh, you're waiting for Titus to come back because it's going to be a half hour passes and Titus has not reappeared yet. Uh, Yeah, and after about a half hour of wandering, Titus does finally find a cave suitable for hiding Hidalgo. That's not so deep that he has to go explore it and clear it. But is not so shallow that it's not actually a cave. Like it takes him a while, but he ends up tracking one down. But he does cover quite a bit of ground there, and is gonna have to cover quite a bit of ground back in order to rejoin his friends. But he does have Hidalgo tucked away nice and safe, and he can make his way back. Uh, Except they're horses instead of grasshoppers. Yeah, well, whatever. Max, please roll me a reflex save. Yeah, 17. Nice. Uh, you are making your way across the bridge, and you've gone maybe 3, 4 steps in, and you can feel the bridge beneath you is, like I said, looser. It's shifting more than a bridge of this size should. And you look up, and the bridge doesn't look like it's moving or shifting around, but your feet still feel unsteady for some reason. It feels like the bridge is like kind of wobbly. And so you slow down and you go to take another step, and your foot just phases clear through the bridge, and you're able to like pull back on the rope and like haul yourself back onto the sturdily onto the bridge, and you look down and it looks perfectly solid, but you dip your foot back down and you watch as your foot like passes through the floor of the bridge as if it were like a hologram or some shit. Yeah, big time illusionary magic. The entire 60 feet in front of you is all magic. Each side of the ridge, and then it's got wooden supports underneath it. Yeah, there's a drawing feature in tabletop. It's hold on. I'm gonna save you some drawing, I think. No, it's like a wooden bridge. Hundred and some odd feet of rock and cliff and air, and then there's water splashing around underneath it. It's a freestanding bridge. Yeah, yeah. Oh, there we go. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't sag. No. Look at. Yeah, yeah. It's a bridge. You're assuming there's way more bridge than there is. Andreas is drawing in where where he got to. Yeah. And also, you're jumping the gun because he hasn't actually said anything yet. You're just watching him cross this bridge. It's feasible. It's possible. It's also possible I'd probably roll a percentile die and see if the arrow broke or not. But yeah, I mean, it's possible. No, I can hear the snort, the snorgles. Sounds good. And it's 60 cubic feet. 30 times 10. Math. Okay, great. Then you Max uses the make hole and watches. Okay, great. So starts the ritual process. Walking back and forth across the portion of the bridge that's solid. Saying his magical words, doing his magical stuff. I'm going to narrate this a little bit for the sake of expediting, and we'll say that Titus reemerges as Max is like finishing up the spell on the bridge, and as he finishes it up, he gets another like 30 feet of the bridge, comes back and becomes solid bridge again and is no longer a magical aura. But as he's looking at this, it's obvious to him that this 120-foot bridge is going to need him to do this at least two more times, maybe uh, maybe three, to if the entirety of this bridge needs to be rebuilt. Yep, absolute max range of your spell, all magical. Once you walk the 30 feet of real wood that you put, back on the bridge, and you get to the end of it, and you do your cone of detect magic, all 60 feet of it comes back magic. Okay. Doof, doof, that's 30, 60, 90 feet plus the 10 feet or so you've got. So there's about a 20-foot gap between where you are and the other end. So your detect magic spell does hit the other side of the bridge now, and you can tell that only about 5 feet of it on the other side is real, and you have no idea how quote unquote solid it is because you can tell that this illusionary magic is still present over everything. It's just obvious that it's not just air, out there, that there's a little bit of bridge on the other side, but there's still about a 15-foot gap. Okay, great. Then if he burns one more spell slot, or whatever, I don't know what the spell is, if it takes a slot or not, but you know, as far as Max can tell, the bridge is as it once was, and is all brand new, made whole, completed, and the only magical aura coming off of it now is the illusionary effect, which now like matches the bridge underneath, and so you know it always, because that's the other thing that he notes is odd, is that he makes it brand new again, but the boards still look weather worn. And usually, when you use this spell, like everything becomes completely new, as it was the day it was built, and that doesn't happen on this bridge. The bridge remanifests itself, but it still continues to look slightly weathered the entire time, and there's like a cover of illusionary magic over the whole thing. A real unimpressed party, apparently. I can see it. It's not on my screen here, but it's on my screen here. No, this is Giga Chat, Giga Max. That's what I thought it was before the hair went on. Um, I thought it was sexy Squidward. So Max has just redone this bridge, and Titus has made his way back. What are you guys up to? What do you guys want to do? Cool. As you guys make your way across the bridge, you see there is a normal sized hawk which comes into view and lets out a screech overhead. You shoot it? Uh, as you guys reach the other side of the bridge, you continue, down the road towards the ruins, and the hawk overhead screeches once more and flies east in the direction that you guys are heading. But before it can get very far out of sight, you see a dark streak in the sky above you, and Echo glances over to where the eagle once was, and it is no longer a mile off in the distance. And the giant eagle streaks in and takes the hawk in a single one of his talons and crunches it. And as the hawk collapses and tumbles out of the sky, it begins to morph and take on a bipedal form, a humanoid form, as it slams to the ground and the limbs fly off of it from the sheer force of impact. But it was obviously no ordinary hawk, and the giant eagle comes and lands on a tree nearby and cocks its head sideways at the lot of you and says and asks very calmly, or not, doesn't ask, I guess, but opens with, "I have been watching you cross our mountains these last few days. You do not appear to mean any harm, but we are still curious what your business is out here." There is nothing good in the direction you are heading, except those things. They have ships that come and go as well. They're doing something out there. We don't leave the mountains, but we can see the glow at night from their digging. Nothing good. But they've been causing disturbances. The earth shakes and belches smoke and flame. But we dare not assault them. Eagle lives are too great a risk. There are many of all kinds with them. Some don't have faces. Some have faces of orcs. Some have faces of dwarves. I have not seen this one. Is he someone important to you? Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second to double check my notes. I wasn't sure if we were going to get to this point tonight or not. Ah, yes, that's right. Uh, and the eagle says, "You know there are other creatures out here which would pose a threat as well. The sea drake is not on anyone's side, not involved with what's going on over there, not one that we've spoken to. He's wild." As it would have to be quite a, you'd have to lure it in. It won't attack anything off the open sea if it doesn't have to. It has put a stop to some of their ships, though. Yeah, 100%. The bridge man. Oh, dang it. That's a 29. You are you're getting authenticity off of this eagle. You're getting a like he's coming across really proud, um, and in a lot of the same for a lot of the same reasons that I feel Echo doesn't really open up to other people. She gets the sense that this eagle and giant eagles in general are not exactly like known for approaching people, and that you know I'm not going to call it an ulterior motive, but that you don't get approached by an eagle like this unless it thinks you can help them. And it points a talon in the direction of the corpse that had fallen from the sky and says, "That was one of their scouts." Says, "You can't trust anything you see out here. Birds, fish, deer, they could all be them." Says, "And there's a there's a lot more of them than there are you, and we would love to see this problem of ours tended to, or better arm ourselves against whatever threat they may pose, if you are traveling that way anyway." And he, you know, looks almost angry for a minute, before his cool composure and even demeanor returns to him, and he says he's gonna start by telling you eagles are too proud to be ridden. That I will take a diplomacy roll on. 13 isn't terrible. Uh, and the eagle says, I can return to my rook and discuss it with the elders, but I'm sure they will be sympathetic to your cause. We will at least be watching. Perhaps they will intervene, perhaps not, but I will speak on your behalf to them. Uh, he's gonna finish with God. What is he gonna say to you as he leaves? Going to say, remember to trust nothing in the form which it presents, and he's going to say, and be careful. There is much sinister magic afoot in the place you head. You know, he doesn't know a whole lot, man. He's just an eagle. All he can do is see with his eyes, you know, and he gets like a vibe, you know, like watching fucking Isengard turn into this like industrial complex. I'm sure that the Ents were like, you know, they had a pretty good idea that there was some evil shit going on, but they couldn't tell you what exactly. They're not like, yeah, check the pits. They got fucking York guy down there that they're breeding and shit. Like, you know, they don't know any of that, but they're like, yeah, there's some evil shit going on over by that tower. You know, it's like, yeah, but it happens every year. So, you know, as long as Mickey D's is making their money on it, that's all they care about. That was a flashback, man. I'm actually really proud of that encounter, the Blood Moon. I was really happy with that. I'd love to live through, play through an encounter like that. Um, okay, so this eagle leaves you with these parting words. Do you guys have anything to say to the eagle? Then it takes back off, wishes you luck, and takes back off towards the highest peak of the highest mountain in the range you just passed through, leaving you guys on the opposite side of the bridge. You know, about a half day's journey from the city's perimeter. Apparently, you're traveling with mutes. Um, Titus is just over there shivering in his boots. Yeah, he is with that performance. He's a tricky guy. Uh, Well, at that point, if he truly believes he's Titus, then wouldn't he really be? Uh, yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you'll have to like find it because it just like fell out of the sky ahead of you. Not directly over the road. So you're gonna have to like wander off the beaten path a little bit to go track it down. But absolutely, you can roll a survival check and go try and track it down. No, it would work for the corpse looting. We'll do it all in one. On a 25, you you're looking around and you find like streaks of blood across different branches and leaves and grasses and things, but because it made impact on a tree and then split and splintered, you've got like a central point to look out, but you're having to like check this whole radius, and you find bits and pieces of this dude, but like there's nothing of value on him. Like it's literally like most of an arm, half of a torso, his left foot, his right knee. It's like it is like he just was a dude who fell 100 feet out of the sky and just did not do so well when he landed. What's that? Yeah, you can most of one. It's missing the jaw, bottom jaw, but you're taking it. You're sticking a wet, bleeding head in your bag. Okay. All right. Uh, Great. Love it. Yeah, and you are running detect magic on it, and unfortunately, because it's just pieces of flesh at this point, that corpse is definitely not magical. But whether or not it was when it was alive is a different question. Yeah, yeah. Pieces change the equation a little bit. Yeah, that's the Eldritch horror, like an Eldritch horror or something. I remember that clip. That's funny as fuck. Uh, uh, yeah, yeah, that's right. That was one of the last things we did with Daniel, and that was when you guys met Jocks, the lizard folk, before he ran off with your horse. Now you guys find body parts in and around the tree. Uh, And as you are, looking for these parts and pieces and sifting through them and, running detect magic on it, don't see anything of note. And, you know, and you're in the process of gathering yourselves to, continue on your journey. And the hairs on all the backs of your neck begin to stand up, and you get the distinct feeling of being watched. And that's how we're going to end it for this week, is with you guys feeling like you're being watched. And then we'll pick it up, and you guys will figure out by what next week, next time. It's not always bad. You guys are being watched by an eagle, and that was not a terrible thing in the end. Yeah. Yeah, well, Oh, I love me a dramatic cliffhanger. So, sweet. And you guys are like right there. You're like right outside the ruins. You can like smell the like smoke in the air, and you're gonna be doing some figuring out things, and some stuff's gonna happen that I'm real excited for. No, and I have to do it twice because you guys have 2 days under your belt. So let me get my little percentile dice here. That was close. That was within 7 of the target number. What's up? It changes around. Right now it's 69, but it won't be forever. I'll move it around. And it was a 76 and a 21, so not quite. That was my thought, because my initial thought was, what is a fertility number that I'm not going to forget? And 69 was the first number that popped into my head, and I haven't forgotten it. So what do you know about that? Sick, guys. Then I'm going to go drop the stream, and then I'll come back and say bye. Be back. Okay, I know that Jeremy couldn't stay in because his internet connection is poop, and I just love him for being around and playing with us and reminding me that I need to make sure that my damn audio comes through my stupid stream when I'm doing the thing. Thank you, Jeremy. Otherwise, we would be doing a raid. We should have the viewer count for it right now, so I will just be off with a smile and just be grateful that I got the opportunity to run this session. And I will catch you guys all Wednesday for what will be, I'm sure, a very dramatic battle scene between, a dragon and an elemental and some undead and the party. We'll see you guys then. Later.